Hello, everyone. We are here in the studio of Taranaki Foodies with Area 41 on the Most FM. You know what? It is the tastiest food show on the Most FM. We are Olina Williams and Warwick Foy, local foodies and broadcasters. And we have amazing guests today with whom we're going to talk about food, garden, hospitality, and our beautiful Taranaki. And of course, about people involved in all of this. And of course, about music, because we are a radio station. So our videographers today are Ollie Foy and Nathan Griffiths. And our guests, amazing, very tireless, known by and loved by many, Gita Kuti from Migrant Connections and Anupama Kuti. How about we listen to some music first? So the first music piece is...
You haven't let me say hello yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's my aging brain, I suppose. Sorry, Warwick.
Namaste.
Very good. So we're listening to Latchkey Kid Recipe Book. Let's listen to this.
Who chose this?
I did.
Well, she has them,
And she approved it.
and I am like,
Got it out of the magazine. But baby, the secret always be safe with me.
I mean,
I never tell her so.
the original reason we got together is a recipe book, so I thought that we would honor it with a song as well. So
From the Latchkey Kid recipe book. When you get out of school, your mama ain't home yet. And you sit some flights and so.
another thing is that the Most FM is the alternative music radio station, so we don't do kind of pop hits and things like that. We have a lot of interesting personalities, quite interesting music. Or a two shows. One is the Long Play Show, which is about albums, long play albums, and also you do the live gigs where you interview musicians and let them choose the playlist, so which is really cool as well. We have a guy who does only, two guys who do blues. Yeah, we do only people who concentrate only on human music, which is actually quite well supported around the whole New Zealand. And so many. Virginia Winder does a show with us, and the show is called Waxing Lyricals, which is waxing is like a movie now, waxing lyricals, and she's quite cool as well. I mean, lots of interesting personas. Yeah.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah. And we've been supporting Taranaki Multi-Ethnic Council for a while. Hope that next year is going to be the best year ever. So, Anupama, if you would choose the music, what would be your first song that you would play?
I quite like eclectic music, so I don't have a specific type of genre that I listen to. Anything that sort of is soul catching, I think that's what I normally go for. I do love blues, I do like jazz, I love music of this sort. I like music, country western, I love Indian music, classical, instrumental, so Arabic.
Well, because you're a dancer, you dance under specific influence music, so it's more like Arabic music, right?
Well, when I'm dancing with the group, usually yes, but when I'm dancing, I can dance to
any particular tribal music you prefer?
We do a lot of tribal dancing, but a lot of our music is we dance to all sorts of music, so it's not necessarily to like traditional tribal.
Oh,
we do Indian, we do Asian, Oriental. So there's a lot of Oriental tribal dancing that uses different types of string instruments and drums. So it just depends on.
Awesome. That's really good. I've been dancing myself. I've been dancing for 8 years when I was living in Ukraine, and our dancing group was a folk group. So we started with Russian, Ukrainian, we danced the cultures all of Soviet Union. So there were 15 countries, and we did this, and it was quite amazing because classical folk dance is very technical. There's a lot of elements that's supposed to be executed very, very precise. And yeah, so of course there is a classical ballet and classical contemporary and many more, but I think this is very it teaches you how to um, kind of be modest, but at the same time go to perfection.
Mm. Yeah, it's a source of discipline.
Yeah, very
Personal discipline.
yes, that's right. So do you belong to this group? But we will talk about later probably.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. It is Alina Williams and Warwick Foy. Hello, Warwick.
Aloha.
Namaste.
Namaste.
So we just listened to the first piece of music, which was called Lechki Kid Recipe Book. And the reason we talked about it because we have guests who published an amazing recipe book recently. And we would like to say hello to Gita. Hi, Gita.
Hi.
So, Gita, it's lovely to have you in the studio. You are the head of the Migrant Connection Consultancy, and it has been there for a while. It has been recognized all over Taranaki. And you're founder of such that gives advice for migrants for how many years?
The Migrant Connections Taranaki started in July 2014.
Ah,
And
gosh.
yeah, it's still going strong. And now almost 7 years.
Almost 7 years,
Yeah,
not
7
far
years
from
and-
July.
And now, yeah, we have been supporting migrants, cross-cultural, and students in Taranaki.
Oh, that's wonderful. We definitely, and the numbers are growing, and I believe that enriches our culture, and it actually helps to create genetic pool that is resistant to diseases and so many other things, which I heard about it. I read about some
Very
research.
challenging for them to come to a new country and settle.
Yeah, it is.
What form does the entity take? Is it just a group of volunteers, or is there some legal structure?
Yeah, I do have a few of them, and but they did come only for few hours,
Right.
and then when they get a job, they move on, or other commitments, they just move on.
So it's mainly just a
Yeah.
core of people who've been doing the role for, as you say, nearly 7 years.
But I'm the main coordinator, handling all the activities, the workshops, and giving advice to people, and then issues, and with the service providers and the employers. So it's mainly my job to do that, and it's just private, very confidential.
Of course,
The-
yeah, that would be
recording everything
important. Yeah.
very confidential, because it's privacy.
Mm,
We can't pass on the information to another person.
understand.
So my next question is, what is the driving force in setting up Migrant Connections? What was your driving force?
I was the coordinator of Settlement Support New Zealand, which was of immigration, and I was working for Taranaki Employment Support Foundation. After 8 years, the immigration decided to close down because the ministry, new
Oh my
ministry
gosh.
they wanted to close down. So in 2014, June was the last, year, the last time that they would say that we are closing it on such and such a date. So all the stakeholders, the few employers and New Plymouth District Council decided that we want to still keep the service going with another initiative, as I've got all the expertise because I have built up.
Yes, you
Yes.
definitely did have build up. You have a name, a lot of people know you, and this is pretty amazing.
Then we started the initiative in July, but there were a lot of challenges, and I didn't give up.
Well done. Sometimes not giving up and just standing strong is really hard, but
In 1.5
important.
years' time, there were few of them who supported me very well. One is the Bishop's Action Foundation, and then the community law.
Yes.
Yeah, the manager of the community law. They supported me very much to build up the initiative. And yeah, that's how we are here.
Oh, that's awesome. The reason we got together today, because your agency, which is actually nothing to do with food, issued a recipe book. How lovely is that? We are foodies. We love when people cook, share something, talk about it. So your ethnic cooking recipe book was quite well received. Just tell us about the project.
You want to know about the book?
Yes, tell us what inspired you to create a book. Where did you get the name? Who helped you with it?
Yeah, its main thing is it's my idea that I wanted to do something for the people of New Zealand, and it's the time, the pandemic time. I know that everyone started cooking at home because they can't go out and eat.
That's true.
Yeah, so I decided to start off with all the countries' recipes, and some of the migrants supported me, and some of the migrants were, from the settlement support contact, and we all put together the booklet, and I was the main one who compiled it. But I had Maria Carcamo, who's a volunteer, and Cherry Jarwan, and Anna Pepperell put together the booklet. And Anna Pepperell was the person who edited the booklet.
I could tell.
Yes.
I knew.
So you received the book.
Style.
Oh, you know Anna.
I know.
Oh.
She's
Anna's
a lovely person.
great. She's great.
Oh,
She's so
that's
good at what she
wonderful.
does.
Well, it's nice to have the community effort to create a community recipe book, isn't
And
it?
my daughter throughout supported me.
Anupama,
Yeah.
well done. We have a lot of people.
Any initiative when I start, she's there to support and help me with it.
Yeah, when I was little, I thought that it was like a slavery, but obviously it still exists.
She's a driving force. She says, "Mama, do it."
Yeah, well done.
We have a very different family culture where we've always supported each other with anything that either of us have wanted to do. So it's always been encouraged towards me. So it only feels right to be supporting the same way.
Here's a thought. I can say this because I'm a European New Zealander. So from that perspective, we only usually hear negative things about immigrants.
Yeah.
There's too many immigrants. They take our jobs, all the rest of the other stereotypes.
Yeah.
But here's a chance to acknowledge that I will say personally, I love immigrants because they bring so much colour, so much culture, new ideas, and they brighten up our life. And as such, generally, because they've had to take the step to leave their own country and move here, they're generally fairly optimistic, go-getter people. So I love immigrants. Also.
And it's also more of us in the studio. It's a
short period of time, we launched the booklet on 30th of April, and I've sold out distributed, given out around 410 already.
Correct.
Wow,
So now I'm
great result for small Taranaki.
Yeah,
Well done.
the booklet.
Yeah. So, what recipes did you submit?
I like almost all the recipes. I enjoy chicken curry.
Okay,
in the
chicken
booklet,
curry.
and
Yes.
then there is aloo paratha, which is my favorite.
It's
And,
potato salad.
and fish cutlets.
Does the chicken curry, is
Yeah.
it similar to any kind of chicken curry that we would be familiar with?
It's not butter chicken
It's
curry.
not butter chicken. Thank goodness.
Homemade chicken curry.
Because I know New Zealanders love butter chicken curry, but the recipe is in the
Yeah.
booklet.
I don't love it.
It's too sweet,
And then,
isn't it?
Yeah, vegetable korma, and and butter cake.
You can you can ask my son who's here. We actually ban butter chicken in our house. It's banned. we have Indian. We have Indian. You have to have something that's not butter chicken.
Or if they're eating it while you're not at home.
He gets to have it when I make it, or when we have visitors who want to have it, right?
Yeah,
I already had it last night.
No, true.
Oh, that's
I know that everyone will enjoy the recipes from all different countries. They'll try, and will be a good experience for them.
So I submitted 2 recipes and I was so thrilled to see them. It was one of them is a Russian borscht, but because I represent 2 cultures, it was one from Russian culture and another I felt obligated to do a Ukrainian recipe. So Ukrainian recipe was a dessert and it was so easy done and it's called tinda. And I was thinking, how do I attract attention to my recipe? Let's call it tinda.
We try.
But this is very similar to what it is called in Russian or Ukrainian or any Eastern culture. So it's something that you collect dry wood to start the fire, basically. So, Gita, how many people contributed to the book?
Around 16 migrants.
Wow, that's great. Different cultures. They all represent different cultures.
A few of them are mine as well. My favorite ones I have included.
Did you get any recipes that you didn't want to include?
Probably not.
Yes, I did, but I'm not going to say.
Because next question you're going to ask, what were they? Yes. So how many cuisines are represented in the book?
Around 131 recipes.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Yeah. And there are a lot of people from these countries live in our beautiful Taranaki. So please, people, if you wanted to have the copy of this book, contact Migrant Connections and Gita or one of her very devoted volunteers will give you a copy. So I also have heard that recently you've been involved into an interesting new project. That's the reason why we're having interview today, not 2 months ahead. So it is a laughing yoga.
Yes, it's called laughter yoga.
Laughter yoga. Yeah. Okay, tell us about it.
Yeah, it is de-stress.
Distress, okay.
And it's very, very good for the pandemic time, that how people are so frustrated and, having a lot of challenges. So it's the laughter yoga helps a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have done that myself, and I think my daughter has done that as well.
So I could give a small little bit of my own personal experience here. One thing we all forget to do when we get stressed and when life sort of just everyday life kind of gets to us is we actually forget to stop and breathe.
Forget to smile.
And smile. And the yoga, I've gone to a few of these sessions, and one thing I've noticed is it's an hour and it's a lot of laughing and a lot of breathing. And it's amazing how you feel the moment you walk out of it. And yeah, I would recommend it as well.
You come out as a different person.
Yeah.
Oh, happy person.
Yeah.
More.
In Russia, we say that the 8 minutes of laughing is equal to the positive effect to your nerves and the 200 grams glass of sour cream. I don't know where Russians decided that one glass of sour cream is good for you, but obviously fatty substances are kind of nourishing your nerves, nervous system, and things like that. So here we go. No calories, 8 minutes of laughter. And if you go to the laughter yoga, you'll probably have several mugs, kilograms of sour cream in one go, and with no calories. This is so great. Yeah. So where is it happening?
Yeah. It is at Tahi, which is 1 Devon Street East. Okay. Yeah. And it's run by the Ayurvedic and naturopath Dr. Asim Gautam.
It's not far from BNZ, right?
Oh, yeah, that's where it turns from west to east.
Yeah, it's just right next door to us.
I think it's a perfect time to listen to our second music piece. And it gives an insight what we're going to talk about later. It's called Tiny Dance.
Tahi.
Yes.
On 29th from 4 p.m. to...
Yeah. We can do it at the very end to shout out about it again.
That's right.
On the break.
Yeah, we're doing so well. So who wants to try the chocolate? So it's chocolate with rum. It's only a small amount of rum, so child under 18 can have it.
If you ever need any trustees, I would be happy, excuse me, next year to be a trustee if you ever need. I've got quite a bit of trustee experience and I'm finishing on 3 boards this year.
Oh, are you finishing 3 boards? How can I do without you?
Oh, right. Good.
Yeah.
It's got nice cushion. It's good.
It's in a mother.
Yeah.
Is it a Madri?
Still,
Yeah, I'd love
It's
to help
dark
out
chocolate.
if you need it.
dark chocolate.
Mm.
I like that.
Which one is yours? This one is yours?
You spend quite a lot of time accessing grant money because that's what these kind of organisations
Yeah.
always
There's
do.
quite a fair bit of that.
And you get quite good at it, or you need someone who is quite good at
Yeah.
it. But not.
What if you can join our multi-ethnic council? Because we need to.
Next year I will.
Will you? Oh my gosh, I'll support you. And you'll support me.
How do you get onto it?
I'll just join the council and then during the voting process, you can nominate yourself to be an executive. I'm sure people will support you because you have a lot of experience. I'll let you know when is our next meeting. And yeah, Lance is already there, he's the vice president.
Yes.
I think that are you a member at the moment of the market?
No.
No.
Because I think you have to be a member for a year
Oh yeah, that's good.
before
That's good.
they go. That's what I've heard anyway when I used to.
I'm sure you can afford $45.
Just put me off.
Only 45.
I've never heard of Hashim Talapa.
It's husband of the lady who was an admin of the extravaganza last year.
Oh, Marcia Perini, I know her husband. What's her husband's name?
What's Marcia's husband's name?
She basketball.
Marcia, that's after
I used to work for them at Spartan College, yeah.
Marcia. Oh, do you know?
Son is Eli. but-
Eli, yeah, we know. Please. Marcia's husband.
We used to call him Mo.
Marcia's last name is Taranaki.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, she's a nice lady. Yeah.
She's lovely. Marcia.
Marcia,
Lovely.
she's one of my trusted.
Yeah, I'm looking at her.
I she's trusted.
So listeners are going to want to know, with COVID, has your work reduced? Can I ask you that question?
Has it? With COVID, has your workload, has it reduced or has it increased? Workload, coding.
What do you mean? The workload, you mean?
Your
Yeah.
workload, because immigration.
More compared to normal time.
Oh, has it really?
Because we did 120 packs for international students, for farm workers, and for community, and
Sounds like a food basket.
people as well. Yeah. So international students, they have a lot of issues with them.
If they didn't go home.
So then we had a big lunch for post-COVID lunch actually for all. Yeah, and we did a lot of workshops for people, passing the information from all ministries, health, so Zoom meetings. There was a lot of other work involved rather than one-on-one when people come.
I think that we should ask that question because that's really interesting.
That's right. But we don't really know much about.
Or basic defense information has to be, distributed to everyone. It's too much. Even now, the work is compared to normal time.
Do other regions have organizations?
Similar. Is there something like migrant connections in other areas of New Zealand? No,
That's special, isn't it?
Probably not under the same name, but maybe something
No,
similar.
that's not like the services what we do. The other services have providing them like Citizens Advice Bureau.
Oh,
They provide some service.
Different.
But it's not like a person giving one person giving advice and handling the issues, because I work with all the service providers as well, like all the service providers who deal with some if there are issues. And yeah, but Citizens Advice Bureau is run by volunteers.
Oh, awesome.
I think there are
Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41, the tastiest food show on the Most FM. And we've been listening to this tiny dancer music, and we were talking about Gita's dedication to helping migrants. And she said a wonderful thing of air, and it was born from Warwick's question. Warwick, what did you ask?
I just wondered what the workload was like given the COVID situation around the world. And my perception, and perhaps the listeners' perception, is that immigration has reduced greatly because of COVID, and so perhaps your workload has reduced. But I got a different answer to what I expected.
Yes, so you help a lot of migrants. You provided food packs for students, for different ethnic communities. So you were really busy during COVID, is that right? Yeah. Awesome, well done. So, Anupama, there's the whole lot of questions towards you. So, you're well known in Taranaki region for your involvement in Taranaki Multi-Ethnic Council, and especially in organizing Taranaki Multi-Ethnic Extravaganza. Tell us about your experience there.
I did that for 3 years. I think that was 2016 through to, if I remember right, 2018 was my last year organizing it. And it's a beautiful project to be part of. I myself am a dancer. I love performing, and to be able to put on a day that Taranaki Multi-Ethnic Extravaganza is wonderful. You get a good flavor and a display of beautiful costumes, people putting on, bringing a bit of their own identity and their own flavor, starting with a wonderful procession up Devon Street East, and then we head off to the it's been at the TSB not TSB stadium, but at the racecourse the last few years, and they normally have beautiful food and lots of art and crafts, as well as performances on display for about 4 hours. So it's a lovely way to spend a Saturday. Yeah,
It's just one
always
of my
enjoy
favorite events.
Yes,
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
feels really warm about it because
Yes.
it's free, it's not for profit, it's just to celebrate every community we have. It's not about advocating because there are a lot of agencies advocate, but it's to celebrate, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that's what, New Zealand as a country, we are diverse, and as a region we get to put that up and put it on display. So it was a wonderful project to be part of.
The most striking thing that Anupama actually presented her, introduced herself as a dancer, but she's an engineer. How cool is it? So you have a double degree in biochemistry and also
in microbiology and engineering. Yes,
and engineering.
Can we ask where you work?
I work for a company called Top Generation. So we produce power and sell it to the national grid. Yeah, so to downstream customers whoever needs.
I'm thinking you're not producing it from burning coal, right?
No, not from burning coal. We've got our big brothers, so they help us out.
So you're working in male-dominated industry. Most of the people who work in the oil or gas or energy sectors are males, and engineering is also male-dominating kind of a field.
Yeah.
What inspired you to become an engineer?
I've always enjoyed problem solving, and my father's an engineer as well, and yes, I'm a bit of a daddy's girl, and I've always enjoyed conversations with him, and the aspect of his job that involves a lot of problem solving. So the more we talked, the more I was sort of like, yeah, I can see myself doing this, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And the more I did it, it's always been challenging. I'm not going to say that engineering is an easy thing to get into, but it definitely, for me, it feels like it's a great achievement, and it's something that I come home after a day at the office and sort of go, yeah, it's got its ups and downs, but I really feel like I've had a challenging and fulfilling day. So yeah, I think I'd say definitely my dad had a big part to play in that, and my mom as well. She's very encouraging. She's all about being independent and standing There's no job out there that's specifically for men or for women. We're all capable of doing our bit, and we're all smart individuals, all of us. So just put the effort in, and you'll find your path.
You're going to find yourself coming along to my school and talking to my students.
That's a really good idea, Warren.
Sure.
Yeah, it comes with the job description, and I'm sure it's in one of those. And you can talk to generations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say
anything to encourage kids to follow a path that they enjoy and to give it a go. You don't know when you're young and you haven't got a lot of exposure to the different kinds of careers out there. You're quite unsure, and so having someone who can help you to work through those questions is always. I was glad I had that at home, but not everyone has that at home. So it's important to.
It's interesting you say that. We often end up on this topic on the show.
Yes.
Maybe
because of you.
That's what I do for a podcast, but I think it's also because the people who come in here are engaged in the community and go-getters, and they have a passion for what you just said. Is that when you're young, it's hard to see what's out there, and you want to help improve that situation.
Definitely, and I've always sort of looked at it as children are our future, and if we cannot put the time, effort, and our resources and energy into helping them blossom, then as a community, we've actually let our future down. We only get a short sort of time frame to do our best, but if a big part of that is not looking to the future and encouraging the next generation to blossom, then we've kind of missed the plot a little.
What I always say is, what's the point of everything they do at school if that part's missed out?
Correct.
What's the point?
Yeah.
My mom used to say, who was a teacher for a long time, more than 30 years of experience. Once I asked her, should I organize a birthday party for a child or not? Because, it's lots of efforts, and when they're little, they probably don't understand it much. And she said, well, you have only 16 chances in your life to organize a good birthday party, because after that, they probably wouldn't want it from you. So,
yeah.
And they don't remember the first 5.
And anyway, it's true, because as Anupama said, we have only a few years actually that we can shape someone's mind in a good, positive way without being too harsh on it. So it brings me to the next question. I know that you've been involved in a very honorable charity, Big Brothers Big Sisters. Are you still doing it?
Yeah, I'm still involved as much as I can be at the moment. It hasn't been as frequent, but still, it's definitely one of my biggest passions. I think it's important that children have mentors and support from the community. And I love what Big Brothers and Big Sisters do. So every time there's something on, I'm always there, eager to support and get behind it. So yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite charities, I think, that I've been involved with.
So apart of your parents, who was your mentor in life?
I've had quite a few different mentors throughout my life, and I think sort of saying that you go through life with one mentor is actually, in some way or the other, you're stopping yourself from growth and development. Having mentors throughout your life and in different parts of your life really does help, because it helps you become a far better individual. So yes, it always started off with mom and dad, but when I went to uni, I had some great lecturers and TAs that really helped guide and help me sort of develop into the kind of engineer or the kind of individual I wanted to be in my work environment. And then when I moved on to my career, then I've had a few mentors over there that sort of helped me shape my life in that direction. Other than that, I've always believed that it's important to have positive-minded individuals around you with experience in life that you can learn off and you can grow with. So I've been very lucky to have those sort of mentors around as well. So yeah, it's really hard to say that there's one that will define and help you become the individual you are. I've had quite a few that have supported me in my journey in life. So
you are one of those role models that kids need to listen, as Warwick said, and this is wonderful, because we are representing you're representing the new generation that actually is caring, but at the same time they're quite pragmatic, so they're not distant from earning and materialistic things as well, and value the quality of life. So it brings me to thinking. Are you Kiwi or are you Indian? Actually, what culture do you associate yourself with?
So I, of course, my origins are Indian, and a lot of my foundations have started off and have been, I guess, based on the Indian culture. I grew up in the Middle East for most of my early years, so my bit of Indianness is actually from my family, not from my environment as such. So growing up in the Middle East, the cultures are very close to one another, and so it's a beautiful blend. It's a lot easier to pick both up and make it what you want. I would say that more than anything, I do identify myself as a Kiwi because I've lived here more than anywhere else in the world. So this is home for me, and I don't think that's ever going to change. No matter where in the world I go, I think I'm more of a Kiwi than anything else. But prior to all of that, I think I am a citizen of the world first, because that's how I like to sort of identify myself as, that I could go anywhere in the world and fit in and be one of them, immerse in their culture, learn about the language and the culture without sort of seeing any bias. It's a difficult thing, but that's how I like to identify myself. So the more I think of it that way, the easier it is to put it into practice as well.
Well said. What age were you when you arrived in New Zealand?
I was 12.
Right, so yeah, it really has been your
home. For more than 2 decades, and the first sort of 12 years was in the Middle East.
Whereabouts in the Middle East?
In a country called Bahrain. Yeah.
Interesting. Oil country.
Yes. So my father worked for Caltex in Bahrain for about 23 years before we decided to make the move here. So yeah, that was where it all began for me.
What you just said reminded me of a friend of mine who lives in Worcester, which is in England, and we were talking about Brexit, and I'm not a fan of Brexit. I can happily say that publicly. He's not either. And one of the most compelling things he said to me about the whole debate of Brexit was that he, being a late 40s Englishman, doesn't see himself as an Englishman or even a British person. He sees himself as a European person, one of the 25 country member states of the EU. He's a citizen of that bloc of countries. And so for Britain to leave Europe through Brexit, for him is just
losing motherland.
He just can't abide it. He's thinking about leaving the country.
Okay. Wow.
So I think what you said, we do define ourselves often by our race or our ethnicity or the country we are from, but it doesn't actually have to be that way.
No.
And it's such a mixed topic, because in the modern world you can be born in a family that represents two cultures, and grown up in the third country, and then you probably study later on in the fourth country and maybe have a partner from the fifth country, and you both move to the sixth country. So our children are going to be like that. They're going to be global citizens.
It also comes up in the debate about Maori wards and other issues to do with Maori things. That, what percentage Maori are you? Well, that's a really European construct. If you think you're Maori, if you feel that you're a Maori, then you're Maori. You don't have to justify the number of genes you've got.
Exactly, it's unmeasurable. Country. So, what you said about your Indian heritage, I was thinking that I've seen you on the stage, and you were so beautiful. You danced with such a grace, and it was an Indian dance, right? And I've heard that Indian kids, both males and females, learn how to dance from an early age of 5. Is that true?
It's really hard to sort of, it's hard to sort of make a statement of that sort, because it all depends on the parents who and the children themselves, whether the kids do decide that they'd like to learn to dance.
So it's not compulsory.
It's not compulsory at school at all. It all depends on, whether the kids are sort of love music, and if parents start seeing that the little ones are sort of getting up and moving to the groove at a younger age, sometimes they might encourage them. I know at school like you'd have here, when I went to school here, it was, you'd have your cultural days, or you'll have days where you'd have festivals on, and like the kids would get together and they would put on a show. And a lot of that happens over in India too. And I think it depends on whether the parents want the kids to take part, and if they do, because we're such a diverse country ourselves, that if you go from one state to the other, or I don't know, even maybe a 3-hour drive from one city to the other, you've got a big change in food and language and culture, in the type of dance, the costumes, and the music. So it all depends on.
It comes naturally to celebrate all this as well.
Yeah, and then there are those that are into music as well. So it just depends on.
The other thing I wanted to do, to give a little bit of a heads up for the guest, it comes in 2 months, and it's Giles Chocolatier. So Given Giles, who is a local chocolatier, and we tried his rum balls. Is that correct? Does it sound not dodgy? Does it sound okay, Warwick?
It does. You said it.
So how was it for you? How did the rum balls? Yeah.
Well, I didn't know what I was eating.
Okay.
So when you don't know what you're eating, so I actually thought it was looked like cinnamon bark on the outside. So I was expecting cinnamon, but it was a dark, bitter chocolate, which I like. And the texture was not silky smooth like your Cadbury's style. It was a little bit, how do I describe it? Not chalky, but there was a bit of texture running through it.
Chunky,
Yeah,
slightly gritty. Yeah.
Tasted artisan, homemade sort of feel to it.
Did you like it?
I did as well. It was beautiful. It kind of felt like a bit of a cross between chocolate but truffle. So it had a chocolate coating on the outside. It felt very soft, like not like a Cadbury Milky Bar, or sorry, it's not Milky Bar, Cadbury Dairy Milk, sort of soft, but definitely was delicious.
So we have in the studio a guy whose name is Nathan Griffith, and he's a social media manager, and he's also the leader of the group for the foodies. We go and try food and do reviews, food reviews. Nathan, would you like to give a review for the chocolate?
Sure. Something I would add to those great descriptions of this chocolate is that it had a really long-lasting experience. But when I put it in my mouth, I kind of sucked on mine and it melted, and it got my imagination going for all the flavors that were going on. And I don't know, I wanted to describe to everybody the kind of taste it was, and besides obviously being the rum, but I came up with the Mora bar. It's a little bit like a Mora.
I guess that's actually a good point there, the Mora bar, because it has the two textures. Well done.
Yes, and also we have another person, which is the star of our team, because he's rising, and his name is Oli Boy, and he is also an artist. Okay, come on, Oli.
And that was really good. It's like when I put it in my mouth, it's got a nice crunch to it, and then like the melts inside your mouth, and it's kind of bitter, so it's not too sweet, and I could eat it all day.
The main question: will your mom kill me because it has some ramen?
I mean, I don't know what rum tastes like, but I can taste anything like that. So, yeah.
I would think the alcohol in the rum would have been burnt off in that.
Yeah. I was joking, of course. I wouldn't give anything harmful to child, especially someone else's child. Awesome. So we are coming to the end of our show, and it was really nice to have you guys here. I would like you to make the final announcement of what projects are you involved, or maybe talk about this laughing, whatever you would like to say it now. Laughter yoga.
Thank you for having them.
Yeah, thank you so much. So laughter yoga happens next Saturday.
Yeah.
What time? It's a Tahi.
Yes.
Tahi Center. And what time does it happen?
It is 4 p.m.
At 4 p.m. The same time as our show starts. Yes. Okay. So thank you so much for coming. It was having us. Such a pleasure to talk to you. And we are about to listen to the third piece of music, which is called Dancer, devoted to a beautiful Anupama Kuti. Awesome. So I'll say the wrap up afterwards,
Okay.
and you can play your music. You wanted to play this quarter
I'm going to
chord.
play quarter chord. Do you want easy like Sunday morning?
No, because we have only one.
I'm going to play something else. Surprise.
Surprise. I'm in love with the dancer.
So, if I could, can I give you my email address?
Yeah, or if you've got a card, it's either.
I haven't got my card. I don't think. No, I don't.
Here's a piece of paper.
Because I do this thing, we have this thing called gems, which is a.
Do you want to just put it in here?
Sure,
And you can put your email in once you've saved it.
sure.
It's much better than pieces of
I always use pieces of paper. I always
They end up everywhere.
And I get people in to
It's
talk
work
about
or FOY.
FOY, yes, to talk about all kinds of stuff. Because the girls have a really warped perception of what engineering is.
They do, and it's just you know, it's that whole thing of women and men have different roles that they play, and so we get into this sort of mindset where everyone tells them, "Oh, a girl would never go do that." I mean, I've heard that a lot too. Not from my parents, funny enough, but from other people on, why would you go do that?
Are you very traditional in a family setting?
No, I'm not very traditional in that sense. We share all our roles. We do everything together. And our main driver is that when one is busy, the other sort of just pulls their weight a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And when both of us are busy, we just sort of will figure it out together. And that's just how we kind of roll. So I love that. That's just, you know, my husband doesn't have the expectation that, well, why is there no food on the table? But I love to cook, and I didn't realize that until I got married. Yeah, and he loves everything I cook, so even better.
It's called recognition.
What does he do?
He's an engineer as well.
Where does he work?
He works for Worley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a rotating equipment engineer over there. And he's of Indian origin, but like as you said, you know, we come from two different parts of India. He's grown up in India and I grew up over here, so we're culturally very different.
Yeah.
But we have some, you know, the way our parents have brought us up has been very similar. So we just seem to very nicely blend in the way we do things.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Girls High. Yeah.
So, did you have a tradition? Welcome back to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41, the tastiest food show on the Most FM. We had wonderful Gita Kuti from Migrant Connections and Anupama Kuti. And we had such a wonderful conversation about diversity, about female role in the society, about devotion, about helping migrants, about how migrants enrich New Zealand culture. And a few words from our sponsor, Area 41 on Brougham Street. Try their weekend's bottomless lunch. Inquire on their website and socials. Bookings are essential. Ask their sommelier about their wine list and about their cocktail list. They are amazing. Thank you for listening to Taranaki Foodies with Area 41. And now we are going to take some selfies and post them on Instagram and Facebook. Tune in to 100.4 FM every Saturday at 4 p.m. Remember, there is a live recording of this interview online on Taranaki Foodies with Area 41 group page. Meet you next Saturday at 4 p.m. on Airwaves. Bye-bye, my gourmetarians and gourmets. Bye-bye, work.
Bye-bye.
This is my pain.